Welcome back to Planet Coaster. You guys are gaming with me, Brothgar, and this is my latest creation here. Some sort of crazy Rocky Mountain sort of mine ride. And this is actually based off a comment that was recommended to me by Amazing Cook here 143. He says, loves my videos, and the one thing that he really wanted me to try to do was to make a coaster that most of it is a mountain and make it feel like a minecart adventure. So I took that idea and I ran with it, but I did change a couple of things right there. One, I didn't want it to make a terrain coaster. I wanted it to make something that you guys could actually download and put into your park. So I had to create a mountain of rocks, which means there are a ton of rocks that go into this entire blueprint. Now, believe it or not, this entire thing, which you could probably expect here. I guess there's a few trees in the background, but it's nearly 3,000 parts. So this blueprint is actually two blueprints that gets placed together. So one of the tricks here is one of the blueprints uses the green squares and then the other uses the yellow square, and then they can paste them down together, and that becomes the entire ride right here. But let's go ahead and explain the ride. What do we have going on here? Why did I make the choices that I did? One, like I said, I made the rock choice because I wanted to actually be able to place it in a park and you don't have to do the terrain around it. And the other one is I went with the Iron Fury Steel Hybrid coaster here, the RMC coaster that I absolutely love, and I think it's probably a favorite amongst the community because I see the people making a lot of it. A lot of coasters with this particular ride, I should say. And what I did is I took this coaster because I figured minecarts, right? They're not very long. They're pretty short, right? There's this little thing right here. You don't see a lot of them stacked up together. So I decided to take this because it's a modern coaster, so I could do a lot of things, loops, twists, all that fun sort of thing. But I could just reduce the train size down to where it's smaller. So what that does is it keeps the scale down. So this is like a micro coaster, but with full large coaster elements inside of it. So let's go ahead and run through the time lapse of what it took to make this. Maybe not the full time lapse because it did take a little while. And then we'll jump into the roller coaster itself and leave us off here with a ride. Well, there you have it, guys. That's what it took to build this roller coaster right here. It took about 3 hours or so in total to actually put everything down and start tweaking it. And to be honest, it did take quite a long time to put all these rocks around it. I used the exact same building technique that I used in my last roller coaster video, except for I did it in a little bit more extreme fashion. So that was building this roller coaster here, where I first tried to do it with all these rocks and the pattern sort of thing, and built this roller coaster that's built, pretty similar, very similar in concept, but built amongst all these rocks right there. And that was pretty fun, but this one took it to the next level and nearly doubled the amount of pieces of scenery that are actually here. So enough of that. Let's go ahead and give it a ride. All right, here we go through our first little drop right here. And then right into the chain lift, and this chain lift is at the maximum speed, so we go up as fast as possible. You'll then go into a little bit of a braking zone to bring it back down to a reasonable speed and go past some scenery there. A little bit of time to take that in. And we go into a bunch of custom little loops right here to make you feel like you're losing control. Like this minecart is suddenly going out of control and now you're falling into the mine. And we go into the first element here, which is a Norwegian loop to the left. I absolutely love this element. It's my new favorite. We go into your big drop hill right now. And what we go into is actually a dive loop to the left with a sidewinder to the right. Now that's a lot like a batwing, but you can control either side right there. So that's a way of doing the batwing, but not being symmetrical. Go to a hard-light roll entry to the right, followed up by a corkscrew to the right. So a very tight entry with a looser corkscrew on the way out, which is how that works out right there. Go through a little bit of a dive loop, and you're right back into the main station. That's the ride right there. That's the extreme, like, Rocky Mountain mine coaster, whatever it is I decide to call it. My creation right there. I love the roller coaster. It's a lot of fun. I've ridden it many times, and I think the scenery came out pretty good. I would say, though, that it is fairly time-consuming, and placing down these rides, or so we said, the two blueprints can be a little bit tedious. So let's go ahead and just run through that. Like I said, this is how I created it. I copied that sort of entire thing right there, pasted it over here. Or should we say, I copied half of that, pasted it, copied the other half, pasted it, saved those two pieces out as blueprints. So you can see the roller coaster is in one half here, but half sticking out, so you get under 2,000 pieces to your blueprint, which is what you had to do. And then the other half is right here. So if I go into my blueprints, I should be able to see both of these pieces, and we'll place it together just like you've seen over here. So let's go ahead and go through that just to show you that you can actually put this down inside your park, even if it may not be the most reasonable sort of thing to have in your park, because this ride is going to cost you, I believe, well, I think it's going to be over $30,000. So it's kind of an expensive ride. This is the ride you put into your park once you have lots of money and you just want to add something cool. Maybe not the roller coaster you're going to add into your park, and that's going to make you lots of money. So place this down and focus on the cube right there. So you place it down so it's level with the ground, and then that's in place. Then go back into your blueprints, pick your other blueprint, and you're going to line it up just like we saw over there before. So your green and yellow squares are going to line up as best as possible. And there's going to be like 1 pixel, because you're trying to place all these rocks around a very tight roller coaster already. So the geometry is very, very close. So you have to really just get this just right. But if you take your time, you should be able to get it. Aha! There we go. Had to zoom in a little bit just to make that a bit easier right there. That's one of the tricks. You're probably going to want to hit your T key so you can get kind of the normal manual controls, where if you hold both your left click and right click, it moves the camera like this, as opposed to moving it like that. So if you get that, then you can kind of zoom in there, get real close, and place that down. It does take a little bit to get it, but you know what? If it takes you a minute to make all of that as opposed to several hours, well, then I think that might be worth it. As you can see, the total cost here for part 1 is about $30,000. The additional cost for part 2, which obviously you're going to want to have both of those parts together, is another $11,000. So that brings you up to about $41,000 to build this roller coaster. Again, this is one of those rides that you're going to put in your park when you have lots of money, not necessarily the ride you're going to put in there because you want to make a lot of money. One final thing, the ratings here, it has an excitement rating of 7.0. It is a bit extreme because the speed keeps up at 6.48 right there. You do have a total airtime count of 4 with a total airtime duration of 2 seconds right there. And the number of inversions is an impressive 6, considering how short this ride is, a length of only 738 meters right there. The whole ride itself only takes 60 seconds, so that's not bad. As far as the finances goes, potential monthly income, not too shabby, $3,500 or so dollars. I charge about $30 and people seem to be okay with paying that. And you know what? Not bad. This roller coaster has already paid for itself at $57,000 profit over some mysterious amount of time. So there you have it. Thanks for the recommendation there, Amazing Cook. I think this is a really cool roller coaster, probably the best I've made, or shall I say the most challenging I've made thus far as the scenery has gone. If you guys have a recommendation that you want me to try, go ahead and put it down there in the comment section below. I'll see if I can make a ride out of it for you. at some time here in the future. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this little episode of Planet Coaster. And if I've earned your subscription, then thank you so much for that. I'll see you guys next time. Stay awesome. Peace. Brothgar out. That was building a roller coaster on a floating island right there. Pretty cool idea. Fun stuff. I enjoyed it. 1 million. There we go. Now we're talking. That's the sound of money if I ever heard it. Woo! It's kind of got a weird ring to it. I'm liking it so far. Bye-bye!